Okay. Okay, let's see if this works. If you can see me okay, and if you can hear me alright, put it into the chat, let me know. Good morning, Jen B, how are you doing? Okay. No notifications. Okay, I'll get it sorted for the next time around. I'm trying OBS for the first time right now. I'm trying OBS for the first time right now. So I'm trying. Just bear with me for a couple of minutes. We'll get started. Move this away. I'm trying. Just bear with me for a couple of minutes. We'll get started. Move this away. I'm trying. Just bear with me for a couple of minutes. We'll get started. Move this away. I'm trying. Just bear with me for a couple of minutes. We'll get started. Bear with me for a couple of minutes. I'm get started. Bear with me for a couple of minutes. I'm get started. Okay, it seems to work on YouTube. Hey Spiros, how are you doing? Okay, it seems to work on. So here's something interesting is that we are now on TradingView, which I have it on another camera running. I can't seem to get OBS to link to or restream to link onto TradingView. We are on YouTube as well. We are on a Twitch as well, and also on Trading Live, another platform there. So wherever you are joining us, do drop a message, say hi, let me know that you're there. I'm just testing out all different platforms, see, just to see where everyone is. Hi Jamil, how are you doing? Jamil has been on a couple of times as I was testing the stream. Hi Ola, good to see you. So if there is any suggestions or feedback on how we can do this better, do let me know as well. Hey Val, I have been, look at this new layout. Do you like the new layout? I have been a bit busy trying to think about this, trying to sort this out over the weekend. Hey Nico, how are you doing? Hi Haida. So yeah, let me know if you like this layout. I'm definitely trying to figure stuff around, trying to figure this stuff out. So it's a hit and miss. It's a trial and error. What's my Twitch link? I have no idea what my Twitch link is. It's there somewhere, but I don't know what a Twitch link is. I'll figure that one out. That's a good question. I'll figure that one out as well. All right, we'll give it one more minute before we get started. Hey Angel Case, how are you doing? Thank you Diana, thank you Val. I have fun trying to figure this out, pull my hair out a little bit as well. Like a good website too, it's worth mentioning. Yeah, I'll tell you who did the website. It's the guy who asked what's my Twitch link. Right, so he does all my website. He does most of the tech. This one I did on myself, by myself, just to try and figure stuff out. And that's what happens when the market's a little bit consolidative, nothing much happening. I get into all kinds of mess, trying all kinds of funny stuff. All right, so let's get started. Thank you all for joining me on this daily market analysis. We do have a new layout. We do have some new setups. If you have any suggestions, if you have any expertise as well, do reach out, let me know. I'll be happy to take all that on board. This is definitely a work in progress at this point in time. Okay, but big thank you, big gratitude and appreciation for you guys to turn up here on the daily market analysis, which I've been doing for the last couple of months, 3 p.m. every day, Monday to Fridays, GMT +8. During this session, what we do is we look at the fundamentals. Not much has happened. We did have the G7 meetings. We did have more talk about the debt ceiling, but there hasn't been any outcomes yet. We've seen prices sitting in somewhat of a consolidation as everyone's holding their breath, waiting for something to happen. So we look at the fundamentals and what else is coming up. Then we look at the technicals in terms of where price is, how it's likely to bounce or retrace. Then put that all together, we look for some possible trade setups. Okay, hey Kelvin, hey AL, how are you doing? Jamil was saying that Friday my gold trade in direction, thank God, took a small profit, take a buy, good job. Too much politics with the debt ceiling, that's for sure, and it is still going on. What will happen from my experience, what will happen, it will come down to the wire. It will come down to the wire, which is the 1st of June, right? It's almost like clockwork. All the politics will happen, and then it comes down to the wire, and hopefully we get some resolution, or we get some idea of a resolution, and then the debt ceiling gets extended again, and life goes on, right? If it doesn't, then we could come to the point where there's more politics. There might be a brief shutdown in the US government's sector. Then it will. I mean, it's not going to be a shutdown for a long time. It will come to the point where they do extend the debt ceiling. It's only what conditions will they agree on with their extension. That's right. 1st of June is the deadline. Okay, so with all that, quick reminder is the disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. The contents of this webinar is not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, so please do your own due diligence. Your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Okay, so please use this. We've been doing this. We've seen the setups trigger, move towards good profit, trigger, move to a stop loss, or not trigger at all. So you don't want to just blindly copy a trade. You should use this to align it with your own analysis, just so that you know how it works. You can put it together. You can enter trades more confidently as well. Okay. Jennings, good morning, Jennings. How are you doing? Hey, Reza, good to see you. Temi Haider asks, what happened to the DXY in that case? Well, DXY has been, well, it's just retraced from the top. I'll share with you more shortly. ISA FX, thank you. You've been watching me for years. Well, thank you. Yes, please do help me out. Click that thumbs up button on YouTube. I haven't figured out how to do that on OBS yet, but do click that thumbs up button on YouTube, or that little rocket ship button on TradingView. Helps to let us get this video get found by more people. Okay, with that, let's keep going on. All right, so the question is, what happened to the DXY over the weekend, or on Friday onwards, right? So we actually saw on Friday core retail sales for the Canadians came out at a minus 0.3%, while retail sales came out at a minus 1.4%. Somewhat as we expected, although it was a little bit of a mixed bag of data here, one slightly less than expected and one slightly more than expected. So it was a little bit mixed, and with that you actually can see on the USCAD, with that news release, we actually saw the Canadian dollar weaken, pushing up, right, bouncing off that trend line, pushing up, testing that resistance level of 1.3526 again before retracing back down because of that dollar weakness. With that, there was some headliners. Let me just scroll through and find that for you, right? Default as soon as 1st of June, a hard deadline, but they haven't changed the assessment, right? Haven't changed my assessment on the ability to pay its bills. It's still a hard deadline that could hit, but we do expect that politics to play out and for the resolution to come around. Where was the... There was no big news item that caused the drop. Let me just find it for you guys. Alright, Fed Chair Powell spoke on Friday. You can see rates may not have to rise as much as expected to curb inflation. So again, Fed Chair Powell cutting down or reducing that likelihood for further rate increases, offsetting what the previous what was previously said by another chair or another Fed member that said that, hey, rates might go up higher. Inflation is far above Fed objective. That one we know because the Fed objective is 2 to 3%. Policy rate may not have to rise as far as otherwise due to tightened bank credit conditions. Okay, so overall that some dampener down on to further rate increases could be the one factor that attributed to that dollar weakness. I meant in case of debt ceiling default, what can happen to DXY? Okay, we'll get to that. Actually, Haider, I'll get to that question, not today. We'll do another session on that because there is still some time towards that possible default. There is still more time for the politics to play out. So it is going to be a little bit preemptive right now. I would say let it play out a little bit more. Let's get a better idea of what could happen or where prices are before we could see any nice opportunities or any possible opportunities. All right. Hi Lily, Johannes, good to see you. Okay, so with that on Friday, and then we had the G7 meetings. Val says, writing on my screen is fuzzy. Let me know if it is. Let me know if it is. It is? Okay. It might be because of the size. Okay, or the streaming, right? Either the size or streaming, the buffering. I think it might be sorted out right now. So let me know, Val. With that, then today, not much happening, right? Not much else happening. No big news. Prices has pretty much been sitting right across. The main thing that we've seen move right before this session is the euro dollar and the pound dollar dropping a little bit. Pound dollar more so than the euro dollar. The max quality is at 720p. Okay, I'll figure out how to change that max quality the next time round. All right. With that, looking into tomorrow, we do have a whole bunch of PMI numbers to be released. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow because it is at 3:15, just as we are going through our session. So that will be, we could end up trading live together during that session. So not much to update in terms of the news to look out for here. So looking at the charts straight away, the dollar index, on Friday we were expecting it to come down to test this trend line and then bounce back up. It came down a little bit more than we expected, off that top of 103.50 to test this 103 level, right? We said it could retrace down to 103.20. It actually came a little bit lower to 103, consolidate along 103.50. So right now it's bouncing back up. You can see, I'll zoom in a little bit more. You can see right now it is bouncing back up. So I do anticipate that the dollar could come back into that trend line and consolidate between, I don't see why it would break above 103.60. So I would say that the dollar index could recover in strength, consolidate along 103.50 to 103.60. Okay, so let's say between. Morning, M leader, how are you doing? So I think that's where dollar index could get to. All right, I think that in the longer term, we do anticipate that it could get up to that 104 level, but you know, as we're looking at no news events, no big news events to be released, the only thing that could cause further upside would be another comment from a FOMC member or some major resolution in terms of the debt ceiling. So dollar index still looking for the upside towards 103.60, at the most 104. Okay. Audio is a little bit static, audio is okay. Maybe it's because I'm just speaking a little bit too loudly or something. All right, let me bear with me for today. We'll get it sorted out as we go along. Some windy audio background. Windy audio background music. Okay, could be the aircon, but we'll get that. Ah, okay, I think I know why. Let me try this. Let's just put it here. Alright, I think it was too near the laptop, so when it powered up it was getting windy. Alright, but bear with me for now. For today, we will get it sorted out, hopefully by tomorrow. Okay, so that's the dollar index, looking at it pushing up towards that level. So now what I'm looking for today is just that it is dollar strength. I'm not looking at, you know, a big retracement. I'm not looking for big reversals. I'm looking for a possible continuation of the trend. What we saw on Friday was some reversal, and then now that continuation back up, which actually will play very nicely towards a healthy trend to the upside. Right? If you look at that, still forming along that upward channel or the upward trend line to push up. You do need some form of retracements for trend to remain strong. A big shoot to the upside or almost a straight line to the upside is very dangerous. I do like to see retracements before a continuation. Let's change the date on that as well. 22nd May. All right, we're almost to the end of the month. So with that said, then let's look at the pairs. Again, if you do have any questions, any particular pairs you'd like me to look at, any instruments you'd like me to look at, do put it into the chat and let me know. Kiwi dollar, on Friday we said it's going to come up, test this level and turn down. It did that, right? It did that. In fact, it did that more than once. So I'll take this away for now. But it came up, it traded down, bounced back up. It's still trading along this 0.6280 level, which is that 50% retracement level. And in fact, if I did look at 61.8, it came up, it tested along that 61.8, level as well. Make that a dotted line. Right, it tested 61.8 and rejected to push down. So again expecting that continuation of trend to the downside. I'll take away 50% because it's broken that already. And a key feature there is 61.8. So right now, obviously we can't sell at 61.8. What you could be looking for is if price does break below 6263. Right? If price breaks below 6263, again, because of that anticipation for dollar strength, I'll be looking for that to push down. All right, AL asking about the pound yen. I will jump to that shortly. So with the Kiwi dollar, what I'll be looking for is selling opportunities below 6263, so about 6260, right? Below 6260, stop loss no more than 20 pips, Take profit will be down to that trend line of 40 pips. I think that if it does break this level, we could see a relatively good move down before possibly bouncing back up again. Okay, so again, we're looking to sell down on the Kiwi dollar 6260, stop loss 20 pips, take profit 40 pips. All right, all good on the Kiwi dollar. If it sits within this consolidation, don't do anything, only look to sell if it breaks below 6263 towards 6260 for that downside. Okay, price, or rather the candle, has to close below this level before you'll be looking to sell. So with that said, then looking at the Aussie dollar, this was a trade that I was very keen on. I think I shared it with you guys in the trading community, right? The link is there for you guys. If you haven't already, do join the Discord channel. Looking for it to break down, right? And as I was sharing that, I think it was this candle, it was short, big strong push to the downside. I had a quick scalp down, closed off very quickly because it was a scalp. But then now I'm looking for this candle to close downwards before I'll look to sell down further. So obviously it didn't push up, and I'm following on that same directional bias with the Kiwi dollar, where I'm looking for this to break to the downside. So I'll still hold this view, looking to sell below 6635 down to the previous low, right? It could go all the way down, but I think a good target first will be the previous low here at 6600, which is about 30 pips. Stop loss about 15 pips. You could be looking for that move. Right now on this hour, it looks like it might bounce a little bit. I think that this would again be a good move if it does this, right? All I'm looking for it to do is do that and then look to sell it down again. Okay, so I'll be looking for that move. So 6635, stop loss 15 pips, take profit 30 pips. So we're looking to sell 6635, stop loss 6635, stop loss 15, take profit 30. Okay, thank you ESA FX, I appreciate that very much. Right, why is it bouncing back now? You can see because the dollar shot up, retraced a little bit. So we're looking for this to possibly in the next half an hour sit along this level and slowly push up. I don't think we're going to see big spikes or big spikes up like that, or big spikes to the downside like that. It's possibly for today going to be a gradual move to the upside. Okay, so I'll move that back down again. So a gradual move to the upside. So I'm looking for that on the Aussie dollar. Then with the US yen, I'll tell you this, on the US yen, I was super keen. I did get into that to the upside again, another quick trade. Nothing much, prices hasn't been moving too much, but I am still looking for this push. right? 137 or 138 is holding as a very strong round number resistance level, right? 138, strong round number resistance level. I was very keen about 1 o'clock GMT plus 8, looking for it to push up, break above that level, hopefully looking for it to buy to the upside, but it is still sitting at that point, right? So on Friday we were looking for it to come down, test this level and push up. It's tested that level, it hasn't pushed up yet. So again, now sit there and wait. It is in consolidation. Things you can look for is either a quick trade, so about 138.15, right? You could be looking for a 50 pip move to the upside because it's broken that resistance, right? I wouldn't go for a 60 pip stop loss. I would say you can go quite tight at about 25 pips, right? Breaking above that resistance level 138.15, I'll be looking for about 55 pips just to that previous high with a stop loss of 25. Two part on this move is you could be looking for it to break up, trade up there. Once it gets to that point, possibly close out your trade or hold on to it, drag the take profit up towards 140, stop loss moves to break even or to secure some profit. Okay, so I'm still not anticipating a big downside on the US yen, right? It looks like it's broken this level quite, or it should have broken this level. Now it's just a retrace before a push back up, and you see that 23.6% is still holding quite strong. Okay, so I'll be looking for that move up on the dollar yen. I'm just considering whether we could see this push back down. With the way the dollar index is moving, I don't think we're going to see the dollar yen retrace or correct to the downside. Okay, yeah, I don't think so. Okay, any retracement needs to break below 23.6 before we're going to see a deeper retrace in terms of a selling opportunity. What you could be, if it does retrace, then you could be looking at about below 137.50, stop loss 60 pips, take profit about 120 to the downside. But I would generally prefer for low news day to day, following with that trend back up. Okay, so US yen 138.15, 25 pip to 55 pips. 138.15. Oops. There we go. And then stop loss about 25 pips. Take profit, I would say 55. Wouldn't want to be anticipating huge moves today. Quite low in terms of volatility. All right. Then looking at the pound dollar. Friday anticipated a big push to downside, didn't happen, didn't trigger, so we take that away. But what you see here is a good continuation. I'll take this away. But you'll see a good continuation of that downward move. Right? You can see that trend line holding prices to the downside. So I do expect the pound dollar to push down. Suki was asking, do you think the pound dollar will bounce off 1.2391, or do you think it break through? So 1.2391 is about there, so that's the low there. Moving this right across there, 91 is that point. I would say, okay, well, I'll tell you what I think is going to happen on the pound dollar. I think what's going to happen on the pound dollar, it is that it's going to come down, test this level, bounce, and then after that go back down again. All right, it's possibly going to look like it's not going to break and then bounce, catch people who are trying to buy it back up, before turning back down again. One idea is also because of that equal low, so it might bounce like that. So you come down, test, create an equal low, bounce back up before pushing back down. I'm not sure that it will bounce all the way back to 50%. I think it will come close to 61.8 before pushing lower again. Okay, so to answer your question there, Suki, I think that it's going to come down, test this level, bounce, and then after that push down. Main thing is that we are looking at possibly further downside on the pound dollar in this scenario, right? And even if I did this, you can see that it's holding it to the downside. If we drag this a bit lower, yeah, I think reasonably it could do this. Could come down, test, bounce, and then come back down again, which would align with that 61.8 retracement level. Okay, so what you can do for the pound dollar is to either look to do a bit of a scalp, a bit of a short-term trade to the downside towards that 1.2391 level, right? Or look for it to bounce and then look to sell as it rejects that trend line again. I would say that a quick scalp here might not be worth it, right? If you're looking to sell now, you have a 30 pip, you have about a 15 pip stop loss, a 30 pip take profit to the downside right now. If you do jump into that trade, might be a reasonable trade, but I would say needs a lot of management on that end, right? Or what you could do is look for it to bounce off before trading down. Overall, still looking for that downside on the pound dollar. I would say try not to trade the pound dollar, right? It could go down. If you're doing a short-term trade, it could go down, but I would say, you know, best to watch it go down and then trade the pound yen as AL was asking about, right? So if this pushes down, let's say pound dollar could test 1.2391. I would say pound dollar would do nothing. Could test, expect downside to 1.2391. Okay, so I would say that's for the pound dollar. If it does break 1.2391, it will definitely most likely get to 1.2350. Add that in. Beyond that, 1.2350. Okay, so could be looking for that on the pound dollar. Why I'm not so keen is because at this equal low, we could see a lot of volatility as it bounces back up. What I'm more interested in would be on the pound yen as it comes down. And we spoke about this on Friday. It's that whole confluence of levels. Firstly, that horizontal level or that area formed by that 23.6 level, that trend line as well, breaking or bouncing off, now coming back down again. What needs to happen is it needs to break this level 171, right? It needs to break below this round number of 171 again before we can see that downside. So I would be more interested in the pound yen. So pound dollar dragging down, trading down, is going to drag the pound yen down. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of space for the pound dollar to drop, but pound yen looks like good clear skies, or not clear skies, good clear area for it to drop to the downside. Vel just got 15 pips on the pound, quick scalp, fantastic. Yeah, it is the pound. If you're going to trade the pound dollar, it is for that quick scalp. It wouldn't be something that you would want to hold on to. It's just going to get a bit messy coming up. And yes, Val, do share your trades, as Haider says, do share your trades in the community, right? Just after you enter it. Don't share it before you enter it, because you might be waiting a little bit, typing everything up, and then you miss the trade. Do the trade, share it in the trading community. Okay. So pound yen, I'll add this in because this is an interesting point here. Pound yen, we'll be looking to sell below 171. Right, we're looking to sell below 171. Stop loss about 45 pips, say 50 pips. Take profit about 100 pips to the downside. Okay, no, sorry, stop loss below 171, stop loss 50, take profit 100. So that's what I'll be looking for on the pound yen. Then, with that said, then we look at the euro dollar. Okay, euro dollar, we had the early entry which didn't trigger. We had a late entry which didn't, just miss our entry point. Fortunately, because it would have bounced up and hit our stop loss, didn't enter as well. But the idea was that the euro dollar was going to push up, test this resistance of the trend line before pushing down. It did more than that, right? It did more than that. It actually pushed up to test that 1.0830 resistance level before pushing back down again. So let me just check my lines. As a trend line, this still works, right? As a trend line, this still works. Not ready to enter right now because we are coming to that 1.0790 support, resistance to support level. What you could be looking for is to sell down below this point, very similar to what we saw on Friday. So 1.0785, tight stop loss about 15 to 20 pips. Take profit, could go for a first take profit of 20 pips, a 1:1. Or I would say that even 30 pips to the downside, so 1:2 on this trade. Why am I not considering that it could bounce at this point? Is also because that we have seen that bounce, we've seen a second bounce already. I think that if the euro dollar does drop to this point from currently just above 1.08, if it drops to 1.0785, there might be enough momentum for price to push down past this equal low and the take profit not very far away at 30 pips. Okay, Buba, I will look at the euro yen after this. All right, so euro dollar 1.0785, 15 pips stop loss, 30 pips take profit. E 1.0785, 15, and then 30 pips take profit, or 60 pips with a hesitation at 1.0750. Right, so what we were talking about on Friday was you could go for 60 with a hesitation level in this area here. So that's reasonable as well. I think we'll keep to that. Okay. Any questions so far? All good. That's M5, M15 depending on, so there's a pound trade. Look at H1, H4 candles for big picture. Very good. Now, with that said about the euro dollar, then looking at the euro pound, what you see here, okay, it didn't drop as we expected. In fact, it bounced, it came down to that support level or support area and bounced back up. But taking all these away, what you'll notice here is that we do have a rather imperfect, right, not a textbook view, but look at that, look at that, and then look at what's forming here. So what do you guys see? Put in the chat, let me know. What do you see here? What do you see? What do you see? Let me know. Head and shoulders, well done, Suki. Thank you for that. Right, and then we have that neckline right there. Diana got it right as well. So we do have that neckline form. We have the shoulder, the head, and the shoulders forming. Not perfect, but what we're looking for now is if it does break below this neckline and also this support level at 148.60. Right, if it does break below these levels, then we're looking at something similar to this. Right, I'll take this away for now. And you can see that we do have, again, not a perfect scenario, but once it broke that neckline, we saw a big downside push. Okay, Booba, we'll do Aussie yen shortly again then. Alright, so similar here, I'll be looking for this to break down. In terms of the euro yen, then you could be looking to sell down, say, about 148.40. Stop loss maybe 45 pips. Let me just check this. This level going up could come down to that 61.8 level, that 50% as well. So 45 pips, about 90, almost 90 pips take profit to the downside on the euro yen. Does need to break down from 50 first as well. Alright, so you're looking at a 1:1 to the downside, and then if it does break that 50%, you're looking at a 1:2 to the downside. Okay, so we're looking for that on the euro yen to break, and this is a relatively safe or conservative entry because we're not entering at a neckline. We're looking for you to break that support level before that downside. So those of you who are a little bit more aggressive, you could be looking to enter earlier, about 148.70 or even 148.50. You could be looking for the downside to be extra conservative, 148.40 to the downside. Okay. So no, from Cape Town, South Africa, good to have you here. Just want to know, how do you only look at H1 time frame, or do you look at any higher time frames as well for structure? Okay, so thank you for joining me onto this session. Why I do only look at the H1 time frame when we do this live streaming session is because we do this every day. So H1 just so that we're looking for opportunities that we can find within this short-term period until the next time we speak. So I don't look at for these sessions, I don't look at the daily or the H4 time frame, because if we identify any trades on that time frame, then it pretty much sets us up for the whole week. So I'm looking at shorter term intraday kind of trades. All right, but in terms of the concept of how to identify trade setups or how to identify possible trading opportunities, you can apply this same method on the H1, on the H4, on the M15, on all time frames. Okay, so that's the euro yen then, and I would actually prefer the pound yen a little bit more than the euro yen, just because this is just not just a chart pattern, but it's forming on a chart pattern. There are a little bit more confluences on the pound yen for that big retrace or the big correction to the downside. Okay, then as Buba was asking about the Aussie yen, right, remember that we were looking for the Aussie dollar to possibly trade to the downside. So, and also with the US yen consolidating at this level, maybe pushing up a little bit. Then on the Aussie yen, I think that with this trend line holding quite well, right, what you should be looking for or looking out for here will be if price breaks below 91.25. If it breaks below this point, it could come down further. come down to this point, okay, what I think is going to happen on the Aussie yen, come down, it bounce back up, but you're only looking to enter if it breaks below this trend line. So it needs to break below this 9125 level and also this upward trend line. On terms of the Aussie yen, I'll only be looking to sell below 91, below 91, stop loss about 40 pips, take profit could come down to 100 to the downside. If we're looking at this, you can see that breaking below 91 would be breaking below that 50% retracement level as well, right? So I do anticipate that if it breaks past this point, then we're going to see potentially some big downside on the Aussie yen. Following Jin's thought process and fundamentals and give you much better and quicker grasp of the market daily moves. Thanks for that, M Leader. All right, so that's the Aussie yen. I hope I answered your question there, Booba. Then, since we've done the euro dollar, since we've done the Aussie dollar as well, and with Jamal's question on the euro Aussie, it is sitting right there. So we were looking for that big move. It didn't happen. Let me just clear out this. It's been a while since I looked at this pair. You notice that while we did have that big spike to the downside, it came back up. It's really held that 1.62 level quite strongly, right? 1.62 held, brief break, bounce back up in that area as well, and then with a resistance at 1.635. That's my resistance there. Okay, so it's right in the middle there on the euro Aussie. We are anticipating Aussie possibly trading to the downside, euro dollar possibly, you know, sitting there but looking for some downside potential. So I think what's going to happen on the euro Aussie is going to be a little bit mixed, right? I do think that we might see some push up. Aussie weakness is going to push this up. But I think that it's going to be bouncing around in this region here with no clear directions. I do think that it could trade, let me see, it could do, I would like to see it trade up a little bit before coming back down. So I'll only be looking to sell. I wouldn't be looking to sell if it goes down from here because the stop loss and take profit levels wouldn't make sense. I'll be looking for a selling opportunity at the resistance, as it has been rejected since the 13th, the 17th and the 18th of May. So you could be looking for it to push up, look to sell 1.6340, stop loss very tight at about 25 pips, take profit could come all the way down 120. I would say even 100 pips would be very generous to the downside. Okay, hope that makes sense for you, Jamil, on the euro Aussie. The US INR, I don't actually look at that. I'll do that last, okay? And gold, we'll get to that. I've never looked at the US INR, Indian rupee, so they'll be very new to me, so we'll do that as an adventure together shortly. Okay, so US Swiss franc. I know someone was sharing this in the trading community just before we started the session, saying that anticipating that dollar strength, he was looking for the Swiss franc to push to the upside. It did look like it was going to push up. It still does look like it's going to push up, but I think that there might be some retracements before a sustained push to the upside. checking the dollar index, consolidating, still looking for some push. I think it's just finding its footing there. So what we could be looking for on the US Swiss franc, retrace before a push back up. Okay. Aggressive entry will be to look to buy just as it bounces off. So 8980, stop loss below that trend line, about 20 pips, take profit up there at about almost 80 pips to the upside. That's aggressive. Why? Because you're betting that it does bounce and break above that resistance. We've already seen it test and reject back down, so that's to be an aggressive entry. What you should be looking for those less aggressive ones, traders within us, above 0.90, stop loss could be tied at about 20 pips, take profit at 60 pips to the upside there for the US Swiss franc. Alright, so I'll say let it bounce, let for it to push above that resistance. 0.90 look to buy, 20 pip stop loss, 60 pip take profit to the upside on the US Swiss franc. Okay, so US Swiss franc, I would be looking to buy above 0.90, stop loss about 20 pips, take profit about 60 pips to the upside towards that resistance level of 0.9065. Good morning, Datafruit. How are you doing? All right. If it does break below this trend line, would you be looking to sell? I wouldn't, just because of how it has been trending quite strongly to the upside, and also because we are expecting some upward push on the dollar index. If it does come all the way down, then we might have to flip some of our analysis. That's also why you want to be a bit more flexible in your approach. If we see a sustained push to the downside, I will update you guys in the trading community. So it is going to be crucial that if you are on the session right now, make sure you do join the trading community. It is absolutely free to join. Then next up, USCAD, right? USCAD moved very nicely as we had planned, came down, bounced off that trend line, pushed up towards that resistance level of 1.3525, and after doing that, it is now retracing back down to retest this trend line again. Again, if I did zoom out, you'll see that it's on a big upward or ascending move with a resistance at 1.3526 to 1.3570, looking for that breakout, right? Looking for that breakout, and you can see that with the news, no big news, and Canadians are on holiday today for the observance of Victoria Day, right? So possibly later on, I think not much defending of the US, of the CAD to be seen. Depends on the dollar. I think we're going to see a breakout. Okay, but a breakout above this resistance is only going to give you that 30 pips to that previous high. I don't think it will be something that you should be looking to jump into. All right, and I don't see why it would push. I don't see why it will go that 60 pips and sustain a move to the upside. So what you would be looking for on the US CAD, drawing on this tail, right, just catching the tails there, is it's possibly going to do this. It's going to bounce, right, with no big directional push on the US CAD. it does, okay, what possibly is going to happen is the USCAD could catch a lot of people out. I think that does seem like a lot of people who are looking for it to break, right? And I think a lot of people are going to be selling at that point, but once they get there, it's going to come back in. So just be careful on that. On higher time frame, USCAD is kind of in a consolidation. It is, right? It is pushing along this level. Take this away. So it is trading within this upward channel. Why I think that it might have a fake break is because of those tails that has failed to push higher. So I think that I wouldn't force a trade on this, right? I'll let it play out. I'll let it play out and wait for it to move. I don't think it'll be a trade for today. I think it'll be something that we want to look at possibly tomorrow or later into the week, right? Ultimately we're looking for a breakout potential on the USCAD. Okay, so this is a do nothing, wait for breakout, and we'll update you on that if it happens or when it happens. Okay, then with that, checking gold. Right, gold, we expected it to come up, test that 50% level. It came almost there, got to 1984 before coming back down, finding some support at 1970. I don't see I see it trading within this range, right? It's today all the way till maybe midday or into the session in the US session tomorrow. I don't see any big push. Everyone's holding, everyone's waiting to see what's going to happen on the dollar front, right, on the debt ceiling front. So it's all in a bit of a consolidation. We're possibly looking at this trading within this range. So between 1985 and 1970, I would like to see gold test 2000 again, because that's going to give us some good trading opportunities. But I think it's going to trade within this range for the time being. Alright, so gold is likely, so it didn't get up to 1990. I think it's going to range between 1970 and 1985. Not super exciting. Okay, any further questions? Yeah, gold doesn't seem to be having much volume or volatility or liquidity, but also the thing is that with gold, as it consolidates, you know that the next time it moves is going to be a big move. It's going to be, you know, that kind of big breaks or a big shootout, a big breakout to the upside or to the downside, right? It's like that. It's going to trade in that range, not do too much, and a big spike, or it's going to have that range and a big spike to the downside. So I'm just sitting waiting for that spike before I'll jump into a trade. Will the NASDAQ and the US 30 go down if the dollar gets stronger? Most likely it will, because of the inverse relationship. If so, what is the reason that indices go down? I thought they are US companies, then it would get stronger. Ultimately it comes down to several, it's almost like you have a pot of money, right? It's either you're getting into treasuries or you're getting equities, so it does get shifted between the two instruments. So that's why there's a negative correlation. And also it's also why, right? Why does the dollar get stronger? If the dollar gets stronger, I can just move this bit, just notice something. If the dollar gets stronger because of anticipation that they're going to increase rates, causing rates to increase, then it's going to make investing into indices, into the equity markets a little bit less attractive, because rates increases is a risk-free investment. You're going to see funds move towards treasuries, towards bonds, towards interest-bearing instruments rather than equities. That's why you see that shift between, or the inverse relationship between equities or indices and the currencies. All right, hope I answered your question there, Suki. ISA FX is happy on gold. Good. Any other questions? Hey, and if you haven't already, again, a big reminder is trading community. Do join that, and also do help me out. Click that like, subscribe button on YouTube, on TradingView. Dollar index not doing anything yet after the new hour. Kiwi dollar still sitting right there. Does look like it's going to could push to the downside later into the hour or into the next hour. Aussie dollar forming up nicely, not ready. I would say if you want to take a little bit of a risk, this could be an entry now, but I think it could retrace a little bit before. It probably sit there a little bit, but I do see that downside coming into play already. So it might not retrace. I think that the Aussie dollar could just push down from here. US yen, a bit of a waiting game. Pound dollar doing very nicely. I am looking forward to that. Together with the euro dollar, a little bit more space to run. The Swiss looking for that bounce. The USCAD might not bounce, might not trade down to bounce, might just push up, but nothing much happening there. I am casting my very keen eye on the pound yen, looking for it to break that confluence or support for that big downside potential. Euro yen not ready yet. Aussie yen a lot more waiting to do. All right, so with that said, I hope you like the new setup. We have a few more things to tweak on the tech side of things, but I do look forward to catching up with you guys in the trading community. So for now, trade well, trade safe, and let's chat in Discord. Take care now. Bye bye.